Hello everyone, Danny here today, not to talk to you about a book, but to talk to you about books in general. This is to talk to you about me, I guess. So I'm doing a tag video. Now I have been doing YouTube video, book review videos for over 2 years. I have over 200 videos on my channel, but believe it or not, just like a week ago, I discovered Booktube. Yeah, didn't know about it prior to that. I mean, I never claimed to be the fastest ship on the sea, and there's further proof for you. Just discovered that a week ago. So I've been tagged with the Booktube newbie tag, and I am new to Booktube. So here we go. Anyhow, why did I start this channel? I started this channel, like I said, a little over 2 years ago. Back then, I've now been promoted and I'm out of the truck, but back then I was driving truck and I was going through anywhere from 3 to 6 audiobooks per week. I mean, you climb in the cab of a truck, you just drive and you listen. The boys had grown up listening to audiobooks with me in the car, and we would talk about audiobooks. I've got a nephew, Caleb. He's been on a couple of my videos. Him and I had connected about audiobooks, and we had this special connection about audiobooks. My sister has commented, I never ever thought I would see the day that Caleb would be interested in a book. And this was after she just sat in shock, staring at Caleb and me, spending, I don't know how long, well over an hour having this huge, excited discussion about a Calcade book, right? And I thought, hey, maybe I can find other people that love audiobooks, so I'm going to start this channel. And I went ahead and started the channel. What are some fun and unique things I can bring to Booktube? Well, there's my personality. I mean, come on. Who isn't funner and uniquer than me? Is uniquer even a word? But another thing, so as far as I know, there's like 2 channels that specifically talk about audiobooks. A lot of the booktubers talk about books, and then we'll put videos that include audiobooks in there with them. I haven't found too many that's all they talk about is audiobooks. And me and Dro Talks, who I'm getting ready to do a collaboration with, check out his channel. We do audiobooks specifically, and audiobooks have an element to them that you don't get with regular books, with reading books. You've got the narrator, and they can do sound effects, and then they can either take a book and they can elevate it to another level, or they can completely destroy it depending upon how they mix all those elements together. That's something unique to talk about. Also, because of my background with my boys, taking long car rides and listening to audiobooks, I'm old enough, people, that when my kids were little, you didn't have DVD players in cars. For all you young people, there was actually a time when they didn't put DVD players in cars, believe it or not. And we would travel from Washington State all the way down to California to visit the in-laws. And me being a truck driver, we're not going to stop and get a hotel halfway through. We're pushing through. And so we would get audiobooks, and we put on audiobooks for the kids to listen to. And nothing is worse than picking a book out that you haven't read before and starting to listen to it only to get partway into it and to get vested in it, and all of a sudden some adult element comes up that your kids are too young for, and you've got to turn it off, and now you got whiny kids because they really want to finish the story and they don't understand. So I always, in all of my videos, I talk about any adult elements in there. So any of you who are parents and want to be able to listen to these books around your kids, you want to be able to listen to them at work, and you don't want to have to worry about offending your coworkers, I'll let you know. Was there swearing? Was there sexual situations? How was the violence? Is the violence something that you need to be concerned about depending upon how sensitive your kids are? That's another unique thing to my channel. What am I most excited for about my channel? The people that I've met. There have actually been quite a few times when I've thought about quitting my channel. It gets difficult after a while coming up with something new to say about books. How do I spend 10 plus minutes talking about this book and make this conversation about this book different than conversations about other books in the genre or other books by the author. I mean, that part it's changed how I listen to audiobooks. And with my new job, I no longer go through, 3 to 6 books a week. It used to be I posted 2 books a week. Because I listened to enough books, I could do that. I don't do that now. I post 1 book a week. And I have some old favorites that I absolutely love and would love to be able to go back and listen to. And most weeks I don't have time. If I feel like, I haven't listened to Divergent in forever, I would love to listen to my wife. We just went down for my daughter-in-law's graduation. And my wife wanted something to listen to, so we put on Divergent. We listened to Divergent on the way down, and I'm like, oh man, I want to go through this series again. But I've got to be able to come up with the time to also listen to a book to do a video on for my book reviews. And so I've thought about it times, this is almost becoming more like a job and less fun, and I think I'm going to quit. And then someone like Michael would get on, and he'd make a comment, and I'd make a connection with him. And all of a sudden, I've got a connection with someone in England, someone that I never would have met if it wasn't for this channel. And it's those connections with the people who subscribe. And I feel like I have a responsibility to them to keep the channel going. The reason you end up doing it is because of that connection that you have. And that's really what I'm most excited. My buddy Dro, this is cool. I have a YouTube Booktube buddy. We're about to do a collaboration together. You have no clue how excited I am about this. That's fun. Why do I love reading listening? Well, this is going to kind of answer a question that comes later, question number 6. But I don't remember a time in my life when I did not read. Honestly, I'm over 50, and I can't not remember a time when I did not read. My dad's a pastor, and if you were to go to my dad's house, so there's my book collection right there. Yeah, if you were to go to my dad's house, what you would have is every single wall of his office is filled with bookcases. And then he's got books piled on top of the bookcases. And he's got books stacked in corners. And the closet is full of books. That's the environment I grew up with. My dad loved books. My dad would read to me. And I just don't remember a time when books were not a part of my life. You get lonely. The town I grew up on an Indian reservation. We were the only white family in town. So there would be times when I would get lonely. We lived right next door to the library. You ever get to feeling lonely? Pick up a book. That loneliness goes away real quick. Like, you just get into the book and you got a friend in me. It's called a book, right? What was the question? Oh, why do you love reading, listening? I don't know. I said all of that, and it opens up new worlds. It opens up new experiences. You can learn new things. I have a better marriage because of books. Because of the way I was raised with books, I have read a lot of marriage and relationship books, and I've applied that to my marriage. My relationship with my wife is better because of those books. My finances are better because of books. I got promoted directly because of books. I can tell you right now, it's because of the books I listened to in the truck that, one, pushed me to try something new, to say, hey, maybe I can get out of the truck and make an even larger contribution to my company than I'm making right now. They also gave me the skills to be able to do that. Why wouldn't you love to read or listen? I do both. I read and I listen. Why wouldn't you? If you don't, it's because you haven't tried it yet. That's what I'll say. What questions do you have for your favorite booktuber? the big question I would have is, how do you, week after week after week, come up with something new and interesting to say to keep people engaged? I mean, like right now, I'm kind of on a lit RPG kick. Every week, when I finish the book, I've got to come up with something new to say about that book. And I don't want it to be a list of questions. I want each week to be unique. I want each week to be interesting. Each time someone comes to my channel, I want them to have an idea of what to expect. Okay, there are going to be some things he's going to cover. He's going to be talking about an audiobook. But I also want there to be a bit of excitement about what about this audiobook is he going to talk about. I want it to be different. How do you do that? How do you keep it different week in and week out? That would be my question. When did you start reading? I haven't got a clue. I don't remember a point in time in my life when I was not reading. That is the honest to gosh truth. And you know what happens when you spend your entire life reading? This is kind of funny, and the only people that are going to relate to this are people who have read for most of their life. You develop a huge vocabulary, and you end up using words, and this happens to me quite regularly, and I don't do it on purpose, and I'm not trying to be all snobbish or educated or anything like that. I mean, for pity's sake, I'm a truck driver, I'm a Marine, I don't have a college education, I'm not the fastest ship on the sea, as the saying goes. But you use a word, it's a word that you've heard time and time and time and time in books, and it fits perfectly in the context that you're using it, and everyone goes, what's that? And you have to stop, and you have to try to come up with a way to explain the word, and then everyone's like, that's not a word. No, that's not a word. It's in books. People read. So, yeah, when did you start reading? My entire life I've been reading. I probably popped out of mom and she handed me a book. Not really. Where do you read? Well, where do I listen? When it's slow enough, I listen at work. I love drawing and then wood burning and then painting and staining and making signs and things like that. I listen to audiobooks when I'm doing that. Any car ride anywhere, if I'm going to the grocery store, I'm listening to an audiobook. I listen to music when I work out. I listen to music first thing when I wake up to kind of get, the energy flowing, get you up, get you happy. That's as much as a dance as you're going to get out of me. I suck at dancing. But otherwise, yeah, it's if I'm working out in the yard, and we've got a beautiful yard here that from the people we bought the house from, the guy was like a master gardener. I don't know anything about gardening, so this is fun. We're learning all kinds, and then books help with that. So I listen to audiobooks while I'm doing that. As far as reading goes, I don't have as much time to read nowadays, so now when I'm doing it more for educational purposes. I mean, the book I'm reading right now is Tony Robbins' Money Master the Game. And I have a rocking chair right here. Well, I didn't realize it was that dirty, or I wouldn't have shown it. But anyhow, I have a rocking chair right here. Got a chair out in the living room. That's where I do my reading, here, out in the living room, or outside in the backyard when the weather is really, really nice. What genre do you read or listen to? Quite honestly, it would be easier for me to tell you what genre I do not read or listen to. I'm not into horror. I've read or listened to one or two of them, but I'm not really into horror. And while I love a really good romance in my books, I'm not into romance books at all. Like, my wife likes those harlequin romance ones. And hey, I love the mood books like that put her into, but those are not books for me. Otherwise, I mean, and one other genre that I really wish I liked, because they've got some fascinating looking books, but each time I try, I can't get into it, steampunk. Don't know why. I mean, there are some amazing looking steampunk books, and every time I try to get into it, it loses me, and I'm kind of disappointed. Otherwise, I mean, yeah, dystopian, mystery, thriller, detective, military, espionage, fantasy, epic fantasy, lit RPG, self-help, and you name it. I mean, look through the videos on my channel. You'll see there's a huge variety of books there. I tend to go through my books in stages. Like right now, I'm on a lit RPG kick. I'm just going to ride the wave. As long as that's what's appealing to me, that's what I'm going to be listening to. But if I was able to bring up my Audible library and show you my Audible library, I have non-lit RPG books waiting in the wings. I've got some mysteries, some thrillers, some espionage, some dystopian. Audible does their daily deal, and I go, oh, that looks good, grab that, throw that in there. At some point in time, I'm going to feel like I need a break. And I'm going to grab one of those, and I'm going to listen to those. And it may be, hey, I need a break. I grab one of those, I listen to it, and then I get to feeling more like, okay, back to lit RPG, or maybe now I'm hooked on this genre and I'm going to be listening to this genre. And then I also like to have some kind of a book that I am listening to, as well as something that I am reading that is more on the self-help side. And by self-help, I just mean self-educational. I'm doing the Tony Robbins is what I'm reading, and what I'm listening to right now, 12 Rules, and I don't remember who it's by, but that's the book that I'm listening to. When I'm done, you'll know about it because I'll post a video on the Audible book, the 12 Rules. I'll post a video on that book. And that's it for the questions. That's it for my first ever tagged video. So, hope you liked it. Let me know what you think about it. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you like my channel, please subscribe. Turn on notifications. Questions, comments, feedback, it's what the comment section is for. Put them in there. But most importantly, no matter what else you do today, make sure that today you listen to at least one really good audiobook. And I have a lot of recommendations. Check out my channel or check out Dro Talks. He's got a lot of recommendations too. Thank you.